Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Yes, excellent. Okay. First of all, thank you for joining us this morning. First hit, so 9:30, so thank you. I also would love to invite anyone who didn't come visit me and my friend Liz at my table. I have gifts for everybody in this room. Okay? ALEXENA, it's the really pretty table along the window. Please come see me. I don't want to take my gifts that I brought to you back home because then I'm going to have to re-gift. And that's not cool, right? I'm so happy to have you all here this morning. This is Transitions, Reinventions, Empowering Women on Their Professional Journey. So, everybody in the right room? All right, call your friends. Let's fill these seats. So, I'm going to give you a little list. Lingerie, oncology, HIV, higher ed, nonprofit, organ donation, higher ed, and then here I am. So you talk about reinventions. That was my resume that I just shared with you. Okay. A lot of different shifts, a lot of different reinventions, and I am so honored to be a part of this amazing panel today. All right. We look forward to sharing all of as many stories as we can with you because we have a very powerful group right here. So we're going to make sure that we watch the time. And in doing so, I'm not going to go through their bios, okay? Because you could check the website on that. However, what I am going to do is share the titles of this amazing panel with you. So Melissa Isman, immediately here, Senior Partnership Development Manager at Plymouth Rock Assurance Corporation. And she, yes, did bring her entire cheering section with her.
Good morning.
Welcome. Angie Kalman, Senior Director of Sales at Slalom Consulting. Welcome, Angie. And Lydia Sarfati, who is the founder and CEO of Repêchage. Yeah? Got it. Repêchage. Okay. All right. So welcome, everyone. And again, so much information in these 3 seats right here. So I'm going to jump right into it. All right. So we're having a discussion. After we'll leave about, look at all these people. Welcome. After we have a little chat, then we'll open it up for Q&A. But I have a couple of questions based on some conversations that we had prior to today that I would like for the panel to answer for me. So, Melissa, my goodness, are you ready, my dear?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So, in this world of constant change, many of which affect us both professionally and personally, what role does your mindset play in us being successful, or in some cases, simply just getting through the day?
Everything.
Mm.
I have to remember to use this. I apologize. I'm a naturally loud person. Jackie and I were speaking, and one of the things that I would like to share, it's actually a great question. I have generalized anxiety disorder. So this is something that, for me, I have to be very mindful of. Change is the only constant, and it's something that we go through every day, and it can be very scary for some people. And I think that if you're not mindful of that or are able to manage that, it can be debilitating. So for myself, for me, it's everything. I have to really sit back and analyze. I was saying that the one thing that I inherited from my family wasn't money. It was the gift of worry from my mom's side of the family. I got the gift of gab from my dad's side. So 2 amazing traits to have. But I'm very mindful of that because if I allow it to become too big of a worry, then it consumes me and then I'm useless. So I have to make sure that it's almost like a time management for me where I have to assess the situation. I have to make sure that if I have a busy day ahead and I still have to address it, be mindful in my own mind that I'm like, okay, I have to be strong enough mentally to put this to the side for now and deal with it later, right? So it's almost where it's an Outlook calendar for me where I'm busy till 3:30. Okay, I can come back to this and then I can assess this in my own mind And is it me making this a bigger deal? And my cheering squad over here is smiling because I get that a lot. It's probably you, Melissa. It probably is. Most times I would say it is. So over the years, I think I've learned to kind of reel that in a little bit where I'm able to kind of talk myself through it. Is this something I can control or can't control, right? Like I said, change is the only constant. I have no choice but to go along with it. But how am I going to react to this? So for me, like I said, it is everything. And it's something that I think I've gotten much better with, but it's something that every day I have to continue to make sure that I pay attention to it, because ultimately it affects my productivity at work, my mood, how I treat other people, how I feel when I go home, and how I look at everything, right? So again, for me, it's just, you can be your own best friend at times, or sometimes you can't talk yourself off a ledge. I try to be my own best friend, and that's where I'll leave it.
Melissa.
So sorry, it's like I said, it's I don't mind sharing something. I hope it resonates with someone. I feel that anxiety is something important, and a lot of people don't talk about it because, you know, we're meant to be strong and tough, and you don't want to see that you're vulnerable. And sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
It's okay.
But it's okay. And it's okay to be able to be, I need a moment. I need to be able to reorganize myself, you know, and be open about that. And hopefully that, you know, me being open about my struggles, that it resonates with someone and helps them too.
Mm. Well, so first of all, I just have to say thank you for sharing you with us. I truly believe that this is what we need, is the space to be able to just be.
Right.
Just be. And when someone, especially someone in a leadership role, high profile role, someone who clearly has lots of fans, are able to say, yeah, I'm anxious today.
And they know about it because I tell them.
And you tell them. But then I truly believe that what you're allowing yourself to do is to be not only your true self to them, but for them to help you and support you,
Right.
and support each other. And that's how and sorry, I'm getting a little choked up now because this is so real. So I'm going to ask our audience, show of hands, who's had a day just filled with anxiety? Just like, there you go. Okay, hands down. Who does this, what every single syllable that Melissa just shared with us, who resonated with that? How much did that resonate with you? A lot, right? So thank you. I'm going to, on behalf of the group, I'm going to say thank you for showing your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're human. We are human. And we're allowed to be not quite 100% all the time. I love your strategy, though, in your handling, in that you are very systematic with what your day looks like, on an hourly basis. Mm-hmm. So when did you start that, and how much has it helped you?
You know, I was an insurance agent for a very long time, so I'd be very strategic in my scheduling and, you know, being able to see clients and being able to get back to the office. So I just started kind of training my mind to follow that same pattern, and, you know, having several days where I was worried about something or something changed at work and I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. And then just seeing my productivity slide from that because I've just consumed myself with it. I just started actually doing that with my personal life and, you know, my thoughts. And, you know, they'll laugh. You know, one of the things that I schedule my calls, my personal calls, it's, 7:00 in the morning. I know who's awake. I'm up. I'm calling you because I'm busy the rest of the day and I won't be able to talk again till later. So, so that's just, you know, really, it's what helped me with work really helped me get along with in my own mind.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were kidding when we were waiting for a session to start with Jamie. And Jamie's like, yeah, I would call you, but I know you're going to call me. So I think he said that teasingly, but I think he depends on her call. So there, all right?
I'm reliable. I might be anxious, but I'm reliable.
Lovely.
So.
I love it, love it. So Angie, sometimes the world makes us need to change professions in a drastic way. How do you suggest we go about identifying that next step when we're faced with that?
Sure. So that's a good question. But I actually, before I kind of go to the next step, I'm going to lean in on the words, the world makes us change. Because with my transitions and with my career, I think we hear the word transition and oftentimes we're thinking of layoffs and it's something that happened to you. But I would challenge that because a lot of times it's self-inflicted, meaning your circumstances changed. And so the world is making you change, but that's because you need to go. Like you need to make that change. That's what I've kind of happened to me a few times in my career. My circumstance changed. You know, when I started out, I was on one, you as like a 20-year-old, go back and, I'm going to say maybe or maybe not, this is decades. For me, it's decades. Go back into your 20s and say like, oh, what did I think I was going to be doing right now? And I'm going to challenge the fact that most of us are not doing what we said we were going to be doing at that time. And I think that's okay. Because if we also looked around the room, most of us would say we're pretty damn successful with what we're doing now. So whether that was kind of done to us or whether that was something that we did to ourselves, that's okay. So that's the first thing that I would say, because I think it's sometimes we act too passive in our careers and we wait for somebody to tell us it's time to change. So I would challenge us not to do that. But then when it is time, and so one of the things that my most recent change, and I had a very similar, very nonlinear resume like yours, Jackie, was it was a change that I brought upon myself. And again, it was kind of this combination of I was in a career, doing well, successful by all, the resume boxes. But I looked up, I looked at the road ahead and the pavement wasn't as far as I wanted it to go in this particular company. It doesn't mean that I wasn't, high achieving and all the things, but I still felt like my kids were just going to college. I was about to be an empty nester, and all the things that I had kind of waited on and played kind of balanced the scale for a little bit. Now I was ready to hit the gas pedal and the pavement wasn't as long. And so I made the change. Right. And so I said, all right, well, I'm going to jump off this. And I didn't even know where I was going next. But what the possibilities were greater than what I saw was ahead. And so I was willing to take the leap. When I did that, and what I would recommend we all do, then you have this like crisis of identification, like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years. Can I even transfer my skills to something else? You have conditioned yourself to think, yeah, you were good in this industry, but honestly, why do you think anybody in another industry is going to take you on? Because you can't come in at the level that you're at because you don't have 15 years in the insurance industry or, the healthcare industry. So what I would recommend as next steps and what I had to do with myself was take a minute, write down what are the things that I do. And I don't mean the titles that I've had, but what are the things that I did? So, if it was selling, we'll talk about, I didn't have a sales title, but I sold every day. So write that down. What are the actual tasks that I was responsible for? And again, it's not going to translate to the job description because the job description is going to be very industry specific and I'm not going to match. So I needed to take that part out of the equation and write down what it is that I was really doing. Then I needed to figure out how I could be a good storyteller. Because what if the person that interviews me isn't as good at storytelling as I am? So I need to connect those dots for him or her that they may not be able to see. So I was super upfront when I walked in that door and said, hey, so here's the deal. My career trajectory is super different than probably everybody you're going to interview today. It is. I want to help you understand why I'm the best person for this role. Because your job said these 7 bullets, here's how what I've done translates to that. I'm going to take all the guessing game out of why I make sense for this move. And that's what I would probably recommend that we do from like a really tactical way, because they may not be that tactical. Maybe they're not strategic. Maybe they don't see that. So help them. Or maybe the person that actually makes the decision is just going to read your resume and not see it. So give them the tools that they can stand behind and say, oh yeah, I know I asked that question, but she told me this, this, and this. And then they've already done that work for you. And to me, that was like kind of what's helped me make these like seemingly disconnected leaps in my career make sense.
When did you learn to cheer for yourself?
That's a great question. So I'm a first generation American. So both my parents are Cuban. They are super driven. Both came over. Well, really, my grandparents are they both came over as children. So my grandparents made that hard decision to say, you know what? Again, successful careers in Cuba, but kind of like we're talking about, the circumstances changed. So they were not willing to stay in the environment that it was looking to be for their children. So they, kind of took that leap of faith and left with nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean got on a plane with, you could only get out of the country saying you're going for a wedding. So you could only pack what would look like you were going for a wedding. So that's very few things. So they kind of took that leap and just said, we'll figure this out. I think that knowing that's my history, knowing that's what I was kind of raised to say, believe in yourself. Like you are the person that's going to make that happen or not happen. Nobody else is going to make that for you. You have a support system. They are loving and kind and, kind of champions. But they also told me, why would you believe that I can do it if I don't believe I can do it? So it was kind of ingrained in us our whole lives to just go for it. And there's no such thing as failure. You win or you learn, period. You're not going to fail. That's not an option. You learned. Even in the role I'm in now, it's a brand new role. It's been a year. I don't know if I'll be in this role 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but there will never be a day where I say, gosh, I learned nothing from that. I will have learned. However long I'm in it is how much I'll learn from it.
I love what you said. Failing forward is sort of a new concept for me. I've always believed in it. Whether you're successful or you deem yourself successful or something didn't work out quite the way you thought it would or should have, failing forward and learning, right? And saying, all right, it's perfectly okay to say, this didn't happen the way it should have. And here's what I did. Here's what I learned. And I promised myself that with my best ability, it's not going to happen again. That is a win. So yeah, you're right. I got to stop even using failing forward. I don't like that F word. Don't like it. All right. Thank you so very much. Can you talk a little bit about transferable skills, though? I'm not sure if everybody has the same definition of transferable skills.
Sure. So I'll tell you how I got the role I'm in right now. So I'm in consulting right now. I have no background in consulting, not even close to consulting. I am humbled every single day with these people. Like they are geniuses in their own regard. I have no idea half the conversations we have because they're so technical, and I have no technical background whatsoever. My degree is as a pediatric occupational therapist. I mean, nothing close to what I do today, nothing at all. But when I went to kind of apply for this role, I took the things that I had done, and I knew as consultants, the job is to be a problem solver. That's what a consultant does. They walk in the door, they don't know what they're dealing with, they kind of meet somebody in an elevator, they chat and say, hey, help me understand what are the challenges you guys are having right now, and let's see if we can help. Well, that I got. That story goes right through my history. So as a pediatric therapist, that was my job. I was literally trained to figure out what child is going to walk in the door, what's that particular family situation, how am I going to help this child who's not going to look like the next child or the next child, but how am I going to help him solve the problems that he needs to have to kind of conquer his day, his world. So I took that, and then I went into like account management for a company after that. Well, same thing. They were looking for a benefit strategy that would help them be on the best list. Okay, that's their problem I'm going to solve. Well, let's figure it out. This is what your competitors are doing. How can we get you on this thing? I'm solving that problem alongside you. So consultant, so that's how I sold it. I was like, so you may not think this, but I've been problem solving my whole life. Let's go. And that's kind of the way I made that transferable thread. And again, it's just a matter of you telling that story. Do I think that, I don't know how I landed the interview because I don't know how the resume worked for me. But once I got in the door, it was just saying, here's why I should be here.
Yeah. Your research going into any kind of encounter, patient by patient, right, is where you grew up. And the issue is, tell me what you need. And I'm going to fill it. And I love that. So that's excellent. Thank you so much, Angie. So, Lydia, tell us how you got to where you are today and what role transitions and reinventions played in it.
So hello, I'm Lydia Sarfati, and my whole life has been based on reinvention and transition. I was born in Poland. I became a refugee in 1969 when the country and the political system has decided that we no longer like the Jews in this country. So my family, which was really only two, we left. No choice. Reinvent yourself. So, you know, when you end up, you go, and you say, wow, what is this? You're homeless, stateless, you have no country, sorry.
We don't apologize for tears, Lydia.
So, reinvention, yes. You don't give up, you persevere, and you move forward. Don't ever let anyone tell you it can be done. It can be done. You can do it if you put your mind to it. So, coming to United States, not having great skills in English, you decide to learn. I really truly have no patience for people that live in this country and decide not to learn or speak the language. For me, that's unacceptable. Go to school. There are many schools, high schools, colleges that have ESL, English as a second language. You can learn it. Transition yourself to success. You said never give up. Never give up. Absolutely, 100%. So transition yourself to be successful. It's your choice. So when I came here, I had experience and knowledge in beauty care from Poland. So I got a job on Madison Avenue, Manhattan, and basically I didn't know that in the USA you need a license to practice cosmetology, because back then there was no such thing as a skincare aesthetic license. So you do what you have to do. Shortly after, I've opened up my own spa in Manhattan on 53rd Street, right off Madison Avenue. And around the corner, there was a huge spa that was owned by Georgia Klinger, who was like the doyenne society. Ladies all went there, but head facials were only $25. Now, this is 1977, don't get all excited. So I've decided I'm going to open a spa. I borrowed money from everyone. It would be like, hello, can you give me $5,000? I will write you IOU and I will pay you back. I promise. I need $30,000. So my mother, my father, my husband, my friends, everyone I could meet said, please, I promise, I give you the money back. Having $30,000, I opened the spa, and I've decided back then that I'm going to charge more than Georgia Klinger. And that, you know what happened? I had landed a full-page article in Daily News in New York City under the headline that said, who has the chutzpah? And anyone from New York, you know what the chutzpah is. Loosely translated, who has the balls to charge more than Miss Klinger? So my phones never stopped ringing. Second transition, I saw an opportunity that now it's time to go into manufacturing. Now, that's a whole different ballgame than $30,000. Where am I going to get the money? Thank God for Small Business Administration loan. Write your business plan. Be very specific. Set your goals. I went in, I got $3 million loan. That's a lot of money. Did I have anxiety like Melissa? How am I going to pay the $3 million back? Yes, I did. Did I have sleepless nights? 100%. But I built a company and a manufacturing facility that today we are in over 65 countries globally. In fact, we got from NJBIA the award Exporter of the Year in May. So how did I do it? Not having fear. I think Churchill said, the only fear you should have is the fear itself, right? So there should be no fear. You make a mistake, you correct it. You go on. Don't let anyone tell you it cannot be done. Yes, it can. And maybe for me, because English is my third language, I speak actually five. I speak 5 languages. So I always thought when I started learning English that if I have explained something to someone and they said no, in my mind, it meant that I probably didn't explain myself the right way. So I did it again and again until I got yes. So I was a real pain in the neck or tenacious, but I never left the room without getting the yes answer. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of no. No just means that the person you were talking to didn't hear what they wanted to hear. And that is what negotiations and business is all about. Tune in. It's not that saying no to you. You didn't tell them how or why or when, what they want to hear, because everyone hears different things. Everyone sees different things. So don't be afraid of transition. Transition only gets you to the next step. Have a goal, go after it, don't be afraid, and believe. I think we all have said here on the panel, believe in yourself. That is the most important thing. If you don't believe in yourself, trust me, nobody else will. And one more thing I want to say, don't blame others for your failures. Own it. Own it and say, you know what? I didn't do this the right way. But guess what? I'm going to try so hard to do it next time the better way, the best way. I think that's very important. Anyway, if you want to learn more about my journey, I have a book. It's free. It's my gift to you all. So after this, you can meet me in the
Exhibit room. She's a couple tables down from mine, so please come visit the both of us.
You go get Jackie's gift and then you come and I will sign the book for you so you can further be inspired and see that everything is possible.
Lydia, thank you so very much. So thank you. You know, all three of you have one very common theme in mind, and it's just knowing where you want to be when you want to be there. But the learning curve in how you tell your story and what did I miss when I was telling that story that got to that no? What am I going to do different the next time until you get to that yes? And that you're worldwide and successful in writing books and sitting on panels, right? So it's so amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lydia. Amazing story. So Melissa.
That's a tough one to follow.
And you're all doing great. This is a tough question for you though, okay? So can you please share with the audience how you manage the tough days?
With a straight face and a 2-minute roll.
Just roll with it, my dear.
So I think this ties back into a little bit of what we were talking about before and how I manage a tough day, right? We all have them. That's very consistent. When I started in sales years ago, I was interviewed by the regional manager of the Southeast. I was in Florida for some time. And I like to think of myself as a bright, positive. I can be positive for everyone else. You know, sometimes it's hard to take our own advice that we give others. I can be there to lend the support and give all the courage and strength to everyone else. And it's difficult for me sometimes to do that for my own self. And so he said something to me, and I didn't take it as rude. I think it was really just kind of it was hey, listen, I think you're going to be amazing in this role and we're so excited to have you. And then he kind of added a little, I'm just worried someone's going to make you cry. And I said, I don't cry. I said, I only cry when I get pulled over. I said, my cousins and my uncles are all state troopers. I know when, to put the tears on. And so I didn't really quite understand what he said because I, could admit to being proud. I mean, I think, I'm in sales. A lot of salespeople are emotional people. And, I definitely can own that. But I didn't really understand what he said until about a year into my career into my sales career. I didn't like rejection, and we talked about no, and I took it personal. And that ties into, everything that's going on in my mind, right? And, if someone tells me no, we want to get the yes. Sometimes we don't get the yes right away. I never give up. I will keep going, and I will get the yes. But, if something happened during my day that I didn't like, again, if a call didn't go right or something didn't happen the way that I thought it would, now, if I just spend the rest of my day beating myself up over this call or being upset about it, there goes another day again. So I came up with a 2-minute rule, which sometimes I have to remind myself about, that I created this rule and I have to follow it. I definitely have used this. I've mentored other people in, their sales roles that were just getting started. And I've said, this has worked for me. I allow myself 2 minutes. 2 minutes to just go off in my own head and say whatever I need to say. And that's it. I have to put it away until, again, if I need to reevaluate it, then I'm going to come back to that later. I have to just keep going and move my focus onto something else. I would sit there and hear everybody else on the phones making all these deals, and I'm still upset about something that happened an hour ago. So, I think for me, it was the rejection that I had to, I'm like, you know what? I don't like no, but I just worked harder. If there was something that I needed to change in my process, I changed it. And I turned more no's into yeses and learned not to take it personal. So the 2-minute rule really helped me. And that's how I stick by it. So, but 2 minutes.
How compliant are you with your 2-minute rule? Because I'm like, no, 2 minutes is not enough for me.
So
I need at least 10 minutes.
2 has to be it, because then it just goes on too long. So I will set a timer on my phone sometime. If I'm that, yeah. So
do you have any idea the strength that takes? Right?
2 minutes.
Like what?
That's it.
I am amazed.
Especially during my work day, right? Or if I have to be very heavily focused on something, I can't have that distraction, because ultimately I'm just going to hurt myself. And then I'm going to get another no, because now I'm in a negative mindset. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying before, I think that, how you feel is what you're going to project. And if I'm upset about something that happened, then that's likely going to cost me more deals during the day. So It's tough. It definitely is tough. But I think that, we need to be able to do that, to be able to get what we need to do, get our job done, function at home. We all have more responsibilities outside of just work where we need to be present. So,
you know what I love about your 2-minute rule? I'm not saying I can do it. I'm just saying that I love the idea. Is that I don't think we give each other and ourselves the grace that we need to get through a tough day, right? It's okay to say, I am not okay right now. I can't function. I can't lock down a deal right now. My heart hurts. And to be able to give yourself that grace to say, just, this is you time. Go cry, go eat, go scream. I've done that before.
I've done that.
And the most profound time I ever did it was during COVID, and someone brought COVID into my house. And I couldn't see my children, and I couldn't see my friends, and I couldn't see my family. So you know where I went for my grace? I went to the cemetery to visit my parents. And I just screamed and I cried. But that's what we need, that outlet to say, I am not okay. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace, and then I'm going to get right back at it. And I love that.
And I think too, one of the things that I also implemented, I am someone that I feel in my mind, I'm working 24/7, right? I just think about, I'm very active. I like to keep moving. I just like to be busy, and that can lead to burnout. So, sometimes my 2-minute rule needs to be extended.
Like 2 days?
Sometimes,
All right.
That's asking a lot.
There is hope for our person up here.
So I know Sundays for me is always a hard day because I'm thinking about the week ahead and it's a little more difficult to turn off. But, I've tried to, unless I have an event or something that I need to be a part of, Saturdays is my day. I try just not to think about work, think about anything other than, what am I going to do today? Walk my dogs. What am I going to do around my home? And that really just helps me, I think, refresh from anything that's gone on during the week.
So perfect.
So.
And you get to look forward to that Saturday.
That's my day.
Every
Yeah.
day. I love it. Love it.
Really try to stick to that.
Whew, okay. You are more real than I thought. Thank you so much. So Angie, there is an old saying, and it is a saying. I'm not calling anybody in this room what this thing says. You can't teach a dog old dog new tricks. Not calling anybody an old dog. I'm probably one of the oldest ones in this room. What are your thoughts on us learning new tricks?
So I have like an insatiable curiosity, I know there's so much that I don't know. So I genuinely want to understand. When I started my career in healthcare, I think it's fascinating in healthcare, and there's other professions that do this too, but you have to stay with your professional license, you have to stay current. You have to take continuing education courses. And think about it. Thank God, right? Like think about how many doctors you love that have been in the field 30 years. So you went to them because they've been in the field 30 years, but would you go to them if the last time they were taught anything was 30 years ago when they left their degree? That would be pretty horrible. So, we mandate it as an industry that you have to do this. It's kind of crazy to think that we don't mandate it across the board. I know there are other industries that do mandate continuing education courses, engineering and architecture and, law, and beauty. Absolutely. Anything that you're getting like a certification, right? And you should because you need to be current, but we don't do it across the board. So I kind of force it upon myself, and whether it's formal or informal. So like I said before, this is a new role for me, and the acronyms are hysterical every day on these phone calls. It's like another language half the time. So I am constantly jotting things down really fast and then looking them up later, so I can continuously learn and know what they're talking about the next time I'm on that call. I'm getting these certifications and these technical, skills and whatnot. And that's the hard skill. But somebody said something yesterday and I don't remember who it was, but I thought it was so lovely, is the importance of kind of remembering to learn the soft skills. One of the things that I didn't realize I would gain so much, I knew I was going to be humbled in this role, but I didn't realize how much I would learn from the people in the room that have nothing to do with the job that we're doing. Nothing. So these lovely women in front row work with me in our company, so they're going to know who I'm talking about. But have you ever, I tend to be really passionate. That has gotten me into trouble at times, right? That can come off pretty assertive and aggressive at times. So I've been coached on this at times, through the years. But I've never really figured out how to be that whisperer. Do you know what I'm talking about? The people that are like, yeah, they get everything out of everybody, and nobody sees them nobody sees them coming. They're a sleeper cell. We had this chief of staff in our office, and I have never been more impressed in my life to watch this woman work, because boy, did she know how to get everything done. And if you needed something that you knew this, our leader was maybe not going to be on board with, you didn't go to him, you went to her. And then she figured out how to pepper it in and get it. And then sure enough, she'd be like, ding, you're done, you got it, whatever it was. And I thought, man, she is my best teacher right now. And I would reach out, I'm like, girl, let's have lunch because I need to learn. And she, 20 years my junior. It's not a matter of age, but she just had this skill that I don't naturally have. And I think we don't think about those learnings as much as we should, because that is like the most learning I've had in the last year has been watching those types of moments. And now, like somebody said yesterday, like that they've tried to reach out and say like, hey, I love how you navigated that conversation. I'd love to talk to you about that. That's what I'm like now, like growing in my professional career on is kind of coming at the humility that it takes to say, hey, how did you get that? How did you figure out how to say that in that meeting? And I'd love for you to teach me. I'm watching and learning.
I love that. And you know what's great? So when we talk about lifelong learning, and it's just a constant, it's a constant. Every day you're forced to learn something else. That it doesn't only include going back to school and going into classroom or doing something web-based. It is identifying resources right in front of your face. And 20 years your junior, yeah, teach me. I love, love, love that. So just utilizing the resources to continue your lifelong learning, even in a very informal way. Rockstar, Angie. Lydia, you brought up a couple of things when you were sharing your story before. Small Business Association, utilizing the ESL services, the banks that you ask for money, your family members that you ask for money. And the thing that resonated with me the most about what you shared with us is that you are where you are today, but you didn't do it by yourself, nor do you have to. Talk to us about leaning in on other people to help us get to where we want to go.
I think that's very important. Sometimes, especially for type A personality, that you probably already figured out I am, is sometimes very difficult to ask for help because you don't want to be perceived as a person that you cannot do it. So I have learned really to look at asking for help in a different way. So asking for help is really building a team. It's empowering my staff. It's empowering my team. And one of the greatest things I think I have done for my company is became ISO certified. ISO 9001, 2015 certified by DECRA. What is this certification? It's basically quality management system. So where before we got the whole company certified, the buck stopped with me. I was the chief, the cleaner, and the cook. And what I did with having the ISO come in, getting certified, is I've made every manager to be responsible for their own team. So whether it's distribution, shipping, manufacturing, compounding, R&D, laboratory, now they are all chiefs. And it works great. And they don't feel like they're constantly are going to be told by me what to do. I always say it's like we answer to the greater authority. It's like having the kosher stamp on your food or USDA on your food. Getting that system in was the best thing that I've done for my company and was able to empower my team to make the decisions on their own. They are responsible. Failure and success. We have meetings and we discuss the KPIs, we discuss the failures, we look at what and how it can be done. We do an event, 5 minutes after the event, we sit down and say, could this be better? How could we do it better next time? So there is a continued, one of the mandates of the ISO is continued improvement. So we continue to improve. Our inspector last time, he said to us, you know, you don't land the plane 95% good. You gotta land your plane 100% good at all times, and everyone is involved to fly the plane. You need mechanics, you need this, you need that. Well, you can't make the product in the jar unless everyone.
Mic drop.
Right, nice drop. Unless everyone is involved and everyone believes in the mission statement. I think everyone has to believe in the mission statement. They have to be passionate. When we ship a product to Guatemala or when we ship the product to Ghana, I said, you know, don't look at it as products in the box. Look at it as how many people that box will be helping. Women will be in business. They will get paid. They will feed their children. Their children will go to school, all because of that box. So this box is the link to actually good life for many people around the world.
So powerful, Lydia. You know, what you do, and you are the epitome of inclusive leader, where you ask your people, you involve your people, and most importantly, you empower your people. Because again, we can't do it all.
No.
Nor should we have to. That's why we surround ourselves with powerful people. We ask the questions, you make group decisions, you make good decisions, and sometimes you will not get to the result that you want, but together you're going to fix it, and the next step is going to be on point, right?
Right. And I think it's important to give the freedom to people to also make mistakes.
Exactly.
Because if they fear of making a mistake, that there will be repercussion, then they're going to be paralyzed and they won't be able to progress.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to say, hey, you know what? You will make a mistake, in fact, but I don't mind the mistake. What I do mind is a failure to correction of your mistake.
Yep.
So that own it. Whatever you do, if I will share with you this, own it. You make a mistake, say, hey, I made a mistake. But you know what? I have a plan exactly how I'm going to fix the mistake.
Love it.
That's the key.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, you know, I could talk to these ladies for like another hour, but we're out of formal time, and I want to give you all a chance to pick these amazing brains up here. So I'm going to open it up to Q&A. Let's start picking. Who'd like to be first? Yes.
Okay, hi, my name's Grace Eichenauer. I just want to say thank you all for sharing, especially such personal details. Like, they were really, really profound, and I'm very inspired by all of you up here. But my question is a little bit more pointed in a different direction. I recently just transitioned out of college and into a full-time role. So I was looking for advice that you might have for somebody looking to, I guess, reinvent themselves as a young professional, like not as a student, or just like help aid that transition from being, you know, a young child or a kid to an adult, you know?
May I just quickly tell you, I always tell my team or share, I said, you know what? Number one, dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. Number two, always continue to learn. Angie, she said, continued education. Learn every day. I always say, you know what? If you learn every day one thing, you're richer by 365 things at the end of the year. Read. I find that people don't read. Everyone just looks at their phone. Reading opens up your mind, gives you the ability to have communication skills that are so important. So read, and pay attention. Find leader. Find people that are successful in your company and try to emulate them in the beginning.
And I remember echo that. I mean, I always say it's okay to be new, and it's okay to, you know, say I'm new and I don't know, right? And I think that's a part of learning. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, you're just getting started and you'll have your experiences. I'm sure if we had this conversation 10 years from now, you'll have a lot of stories, right? And you'll be a totally different person. But I think I, agree, always be learning and don't be so hard on yourself if you don't know something. Again, you're new and it's going to take time. And for me, be around people that are going to clap for you, that want you to succeed, that are going to empower you to do better, right? That want to see the best for you. That network of people that are positive are going to just really, like when we talk about these tough days, and not being able to hold my accountable to my 2-minute rule, I still need that support system, right? So, allow yourself to be new. This is fun. This should be an exciting time for you. Don't let this become something where you're not, you're putting so much pressure that you're not enjoying. This is an exciting time of your life. I wish I can go have a conversation with myself 20 plus some more years ago.
Don't
I
we all?
don't want to age, myself here, but this should be the most exciting time of your life and really where you're going to develop.
Build your squad.
Yes.
Angie.
I would say, Grace, honestly, number one, kudos to you, because how many of you would have ever stood up in this room and asked a question?
Yes. Thank
Like,
you for
that's
sharing.
Awesome. So you need to
Your
really
squad.
acknowledge the fact that the majority of people won't be standing, even though they have a question and they may have have a career behind them. So that's kind of badass. So you should completely feel great about that. The other thing that I would say is you are new. I get it. And that's intimidating sometimes in your new role. And there will be lots of questions that you'll be learning from. But don't underestimate what you bring to the mix too. Yes. Because you came up at a different time. So the questions that you have, kind of your take on things, share it. Because there will be a lot of people who have not had that, exposure to diversity of experience that you bring. So don't undervalue that.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Good luck.
That was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, companies now, you have to innovate. You have to take risks if you're going to succeed in today's day and age. If you come up with an idea, lay it out there, because most times people are going to say, gosh, never thought of that. So just bring it. And welcome to your squad. Yeah. Okay. All right. Who wants to ask next? Yes.
Hi, ladies. First off, thank you so much for being here today. I personally first off, my name is Amber. I'm with Bank of America. And I'm just so glad I took the opportunity to sit here and listen to all your stories. I had a personal connection to each of you. I also have feelings of anxiety in the workplace. I also am a product of 2 immigrants who built, something from nothing. And ironically enough, my mom's first job was an esthetician, so I had Repêchage in my house all my life. All of my life. So I saw you and I said, I'm gonna let my mom know that I met Lydia today. Of course, yeah, so we spoke a little bit about burnout and, navigating the workplace, reinventing yourself. And I think sometimes that comes with a bit of hyper-independence, feeling like you have to do it all on your own and not ask for help, feeling like maybe you are less than or you're not competent enough to do it on your own. And with that comes not setting the right boundaries with yourself. So can you tell or share a little bit about how you set boundaries with yourself?
Yeah, okay. So I'm so excited that you had Repêchage in your house. That's why your skin is glowing, darling. I could tell. Your mommy did the right job by you. Amazing, amazing. So for me, setting boundaries, what I did for myself, because I just had so much on my plate, and having 2 kids, being married, running 2 houses, my aging parents, 2 big businesses in Europe and here and everywhere. And I was always, yes, I can do that. Yes, no problem. It can be done. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And you have to come to realization, and I think you have said it as well, Melissa, that it's okay to set the boundaries and to say, you know what, I can't do this right now. And I have to tell you, I'm still learning. I still have difficulty sometimes saying no. So don't think, first of all, that it's going to be a magic wand, that you will wake up in the morning and say, oh, I've got it. I have my boundaries. I'm good. I'm good now. No, it's it's an everyday occurrence. Because I think women, more than men, I love you guys, but we are naturally multitasking. You know, and that goes back to the cave days. You know, men went hunting, women had to cook, clean, and pay attention to the children when they were crying. So we are naturally born multitaskers, and we believe that we can do it all. Men, they come in, they do one thing, and they done. They done, okay? It is true. It is true.
We'll follow
Don't
this up with
deny
a
it.
bias session.
Okay? Don't deny it. So we
You heard it here.
naturally, in our brain, we are, you know, this is like thousands of years ingrained in our brain that we can do it all. And it's very difficult for us to say, I'm going to set these boundaries, don't come in, I'm going to keep you at the arm's length, talk to my hand, I'm not here. So what you have to do is to develop it. And what I do every morning, it's my time. I don't care who wants me, who needs me. I really don't care. I put very strong boundary with that. Morning is me. I get up every morning at 6. I do stretch exercise. I do dry brushing. I take a shower. I sing in the shower. I have a horrible voice. But while I'm in the shower, I think I'm Alexandra Kuzak, you know. And then it's the time for you at night, set up morning routine and night routine, where before you go to bed, don't take your anxiety and stress into your bed because you will be tossing, turning. Americans are notorious for not being able to sleep. Why? Because they bring everything to bed. Take a bath. Take a bath. Have a chamomile tea. Read a book. Fall asleep. Do breathing. You will be so fabulous. And these are the 2 boundaries. If you set to start with, you will be better off.
I agree with the dry brushing, by the way. I started doing that, and that's amazing. Just
I need to look into
yeah, so
Dry brushing, baby. It's all about dry brushing.
I can't agree, but I think you covered pretty much every point. You know, I think that I think in our jobs, it's a little bit more difficult to say no sometimes, right? Because it's a part of what we need to do. But, you know, even in your personal life, right, not be overwhelmed. I tend to be a yes person, and I can do it. I can get everything done. And the only person I end up hurting is myself. Learning to delegate, ask for help, and learning to say no and not feel guilty about saying no, I think is the bigger piece of it. Because again, you know, should I have said no? Should I have not? And not being, you know, I don't need to apologize for not being able to do something. I'm still a great friend. I'm still a great sister. I'm still a great aunt. I'm a dog mom. I'm still a good dog mom. My dogs don't like when I say no, though. But, you know, that will help you balance that out, right? And then taking the time for yourself. Do things that you enjoy where you could just zone everything else out and just completely focus on that. You mentioned the bath. I had a soaking tub in my room. I was actually very grateful for that. That's where I was at 5 a.m. this morning. My only complaint, the water wasn't hot enough, but that's okay. You know, those are really, I think it doesn't happen overnight. It does take time to be comfortable with that.
We have bath bombs at our table.
Yes. And before I forget, we also have, what is it called again? It's the Bartista. If you've not stopped, we are a vendor here as well. We're going to be doing the drawing. So there's nothing more important for professional ladies to unwind is to be able to make a cocktail at home. This is an amazing machine, so make sure that you're able to stop over for your adult K-cup machine. So
We have a lot of tables to visit after this. Angie, boundaries, close us out, please.
The only thing that so mine's gonna be more cautionary. Okay, because I don't want to. So after 2020, so 2021, actually it was at the end of 2021, I hit a complete wall, and I had like a full like burnout, terrible moment, you know. And so, like these ladies, I don't want us to pretend that being ambitious means that you have to put yourself in the back seat, because that's what I think it kind of translates sometimes to. At least that's what I told myself, you know. And so I was leading a team of 7. I was working at a childcare company. So if you can remember COVID and childcare, it was like the worst time possible. And we were working like 18-hour days, like to try and help with corporate childcare. And I would take everything off my team. And for a year I did that and I was fine. And then I was running on fumes and then I just fell apart to the point where I had a call with my CEO, like a meeting with my CEO on Monday. And I called my boss on Thursday sobbing. No like moment that made me sob, but just, you know, waking up that day, just sobbing. And I like hyperventilating, you know. So the result was calling my team saying, hey, I'm on leave. Don't do that. Don't do that. That was something that, P.S., I had 3 weeks of vacation time that I didn't use when I went on this leave. That's a sad moment, and I'm admitting it. So number 1, don't do that. Number 2, I don't know about everybody else, unless we're surgeons, we're not that important. Okay, I mean, and I'm being, not to like, you know, boo-hoo ourselves, but we're not that important. You know, in retrospect, I ended up taking a month off. Third thing, get yourself a CEO who said, hey, when I called to cancel the meeting, he said, I'll fly to you. And I said, you know, I was like, I love that you will. I can't take the call. I can't take the meeting. Don't fly here. I was like, don't fly to me. But I love that that's, you know, his response, like, Angie, what do you need, kind of thing. So that's another thing, kind of find leaders in your circle that are true leaders. But in the end, don't confuse your value with what you do at work. Like, I get it. There is nobody more driven than me, and apparently these 2 women and these 3 women here. But I have changed my tune. My husband kind of said, I enabled this. I would bring dinner to you at 7 p.m. knowing you hadn't left your office that whole day since 6 a.m. We both said, we got to change. Don't fall into the trap. You know, and I hate to be negative, but the reality is, as valuable as we all are, and I'm sure we are, the minute you do decide to leave your job and quit, they will find a replacement. And you will not get your time back in the world. So just own and honor that, and then walk away from the rest when you need to.
So did I not say that these women were crazy powerful? This has been an amazing hour. I have so thoroughly enjoyed all of you, all the questions, all the input. Bottom line, just surround yourself by a caring, cheering, yeah, I'm here with you squad. So I thank you. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our audience. Don't forget my gift. Don't forget the raffle. Thank you all so very much.